Hey guys, it's Lauren from Granite State Yarns, and I'm here today to do a very short little podcast. Yep, I'm coming to you from my bedroom because I am recovering from a very nasty case of strep throat. It was not fun. I got rather sick over the weekend, ended up going to urgent care, was diagnosed with strep, which I was not surprised about because I knew that I had strep. I had like every classic strep symptom, like to the nth degree. So I was diagnosed with strep, got put on antibiotics, and I feel so much better. So much better. Which is great. Still not 100% though. So I don't have a whole lot of knitting to talk about because it's been a week since my last podcast and I've been sick for a good portion of that. But I really did want to come on here and do the sock set box giveaway that I promised you all last week. So here I am. Yay! Glad that I am healthy enough to be able to do this. Thank God. So you can find me on Instagram at Granite State Yarns, and my website is www.granitestateyarns.com. And you can find hand-dyed sock yarn by me on that website. If you're interested in any of that, please take a look. I also have a few sock knitting patterns that I've designed. So that's my thing. This is my podcast where I talk about mainly my knitting, but also crocheting and other crafting things that I might do. Today I just have knitting and a little bit of acquisitions that I got. So let's get into it. First off, I think we'll start with my works in progress. I don't have any finished objects this week. I do have a few projects that I was working on, so we do have some things to talk about, which is nice. This is in a bag by Midwest Stitches, and this is one of my sock blank socks. If you remember last week, I talked about rolling my double knit sock blank into two matching, they're not matching anymore because I've already knit off of this one, but two matching balls. And this is the first sock that I started. And so I'm super enjoying the micro striping that's happening. It's really cool. This pattern is just something that I'm kind of playing with. It's really simple. It's just some stockinette and reverse stockinette with a 1x1 twisted cable here for added interest, I guess, because I really wanted to see how the sock blank would work up on both like the stockinette and reverse stockinette. So it's kind of just a little bit of an experimental sock here, but it's coming out really well. I'm happy with it. Seems like everything is going to fit just fine. I was a little bit concerned about how my gauge would work out with the the ramen noodle situation that you get with unraveling a sock blank, but so far it doesn't seem to be causing much of an issue. It might be a little bit looser than usual, but my gauge seems to be tightening up a bit. I've really been focusing on trying to knit a little bit tighter than I have in the past. I'm usually a very loose knitter. Like these are size 0 needles, where I think most people tend to knit on size 1 needles. But I'm really trying to kind of tighten up a little bit because especially I'm finding with sweater knitting, which I've just kind of recently started getting really into, that it can be a real challenge to get the right needle size when you knit super loose. So anyway, I think that the tightening of my gauge that I've been working on is working along with continuing for this sock to be using the size 0 needle, that any looseness that I'm getting in the gauge here is gonna compensate. Does that make sense? And I'm not gonna end up with this super loose sock here. Plus I have a bit of like ribbing here on the front too, just to be a little extra insurance that the sock is going to not be too loose. I really hope you can't hear my kids. Like, I have my two littlest ones. They're supposed to be taking a nap and they're on the other wall here. And one of them is, actually both of them now aren't too happy about it. So if you hear a little bit of whining in the background, it's just my kids. They just don't want to take a nap. I probably shouldn't be talking. So anyway, it's another reason to try to finish up this podcast a little bit quicker so they can take a rest. So that's this sock. Very much enjoying it, almost to the heel. So hopefully I'll have a little more progress to show next time. I have another sock project. This is in another bag from Miss Midwest Stitches. She sent me this, thank you Danielle. And this is my Would You Be My Palantine socks that I got from that sock set box, which is conveniently right over here. And if I remember correctly, in the last podcast, I had started the pattern, the I Heart Socks pattern by Professor Pearl, that came in the box. And it is a very nice, well-written, easy to follow pattern. It's got a little bit of cabling in it. It's got a little bit of lace in it. It's making a very pretty sock, but to be honest, and I have to be honest, it was just a little bit too fussy for me. If I'm knitting socks, I don't usually want to have to be following a pattern, and because it's a lace pattern and it's over, I don't remember how many rows exactly, but it was somewhere between, I don't know, 10 and 20 row repeat. It was not something that I was going to be able to memorize. And so I had to keep looking every row to see what I had to do. And that's fine. I mean, I have no problem with that if I'm interested in actually following a pattern. And for a pair of socks, usually I just want to be able to sit down and just knit it. Maybe at another point I'll want to do something a little more exciting. I've definitely done some really wild socks before with lots of cables and things like that, where it really did take following along with a pattern, but it just wasn't working in my head right now. I just needed to do something else with this yarn because I was really enjoying the yarn. And while I really liked the pattern and I really liked the sock that was happening, it just not at this point in my life. I think, you know, I don't need to get into like craziness here. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings because the pattern is lovely. It just wasn't working for me, right? I think as knitters, we kind of understand that, right? Maybe someday I will knit that pattern up in a different yarn. It really is a pretty pattern. And I do kind of feel bad about not finishing it, but I just ended up ripping it out. Sorry. But I loved the yarn so much that I did want to make sure that I got a pair of socks out of it. So I decided to do basically a vanilla sock, but added a few fun details in it, but that I could kind of play around with as I wanted to and not have to follow a huge, fancy, cool pattern. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. So anyway, I did get one sock done, which is amazing because I was slogging through that first sock and it was just taking forever and I wasn't enjoying it. And then when I kind of adjusted things, I went right through the sock, and that was including a, slow down because of the darn strep throat that I had. So anyway, this is the first sock. I don't have a sock blocker with me, so we'll just have to look at it as is. But I did a picot cuff, which I've done before. I actually have a tutorial on my YouTube channel here, and I will link it. Actually, I think it'll go up on this side, right? There should be a link up here for that tutorial if you're interested in doing a picot edge cuff. And it's really simple, but look at this. I did a little kind of cool thing. At least I think it's kind of cool. And I knit the first half of the cuff in the hot pink that came, and then I did the eyelet row here. So you do like yarn over and knit two together, yarn over, knit two together. And then when you fold it over, that's what makes that picot edge. But I stayed with the hot pink for one more row after doing those eyelets, and then switched over to the, the main color here. This one's the Would You Be My Palantine. And it gave, my daughter referred to it as reminding her of like a cupcake top or something. But I don't know, it's really kind of fun. So that was cool. And I'm just doing little shorties here. So here's the cuff, and then I did the heel in the black that came with the set, and just vanilla knitting down to the toe, where I just did a little bit of color work here and put in some cute little hearts on both the top and the bottom, and then went back to the main color for the toe. So really super simple sock. Like I didn't follow a pattern. I just, again, just kind of playing around with things. I might in the future adjust a little bit of this. I don't know, maybe I'll write it up as a pattern. I'm not sure yet. But you know, for now, this was just kind of a fun little experiment for me to get a little bit of creativity out and also kind of rest my brain and do some simple vanilla knitting with the, you know, the same basic sock pattern that I knit almost all the time, but just adjust and tweak as necessary to get something kind of fun, you know? So anyway, this is my first sock. This is going to go to one of my daughters, as I talked about last week. I'm working on knitting my kids a new pair of socks for each of them. And so this is going to go to one of them. And yeah, so that's that. Oh, and I have to mention too, as I've mentioned before, but I will re-mention this because it is so cool. This bag that Danielle sent me from Midwest Stitches matches my sock, and I think that's really fun. Look at what the purple inside. I mean, could this match any better? So that's been really cool. I'm not too worried about things matching, but when they do match, it's just a cool added bonus. Oh, my poor Stelly's crying. All right, so, oh, works in progress. I also kind of swatched, you'll see, for my sea glass sweater that I've been talking about. And I have it here. And it is kind of a tiny swatch because come on, who likes swatching? I don't like swatching. But I was a good girl and I swatched in the round just the way that like this pattern is great. There's like a ton of videos that go along with it. And they explain how to deal with all the ends, how to do the swatching, everything. So it's great. But I was a good girl and I swatched in the round, which I'd never done before. It should probably be double the height than what it is. And I just kind of, I'm like, it's close enough. I'll be able to get my gauge. In the end, my gauge is still, you know, I was talking about how I'm working on tightening up my gauge. And so I went down one needle size from the suggested needle size. And guess what? My gauge is off. So I'm actually going to have to go to the recommended needle size, I believe. I can't even remember. Yeah, because it's right. I'm getting not enough stitches to the 4 inches, right? So I have to go up a needle size. So I think I'm just going to go with whatever the recommended needle size is, and I'm just going to hope that that works rather than making another swatch, which is kind of living on the edge, but oh well. I'll know soon enough while I'm knitting the sock if that was a bad idea. And while I'm knitting the sweater if that's a bad idea. Is that a bad? Yeah, it's a bad idea. I don't even need to ask you. I know it's a bad idea. But I don't want to knit another swatch. I really don't. I know I should. Maybe I should. Now that I'm talking about it, I feel kind of bad that I'm that I'm kind of cheating. I don't know. I'll think about it. We'll see. I will say though, I am really liking what I'm seeing here. So I did do kind of a little bit of experimenting. So this is the Knit Picks City Tweed, I think it is, DK yarn that I said I was going to do for the, what is it called? Around your neck. Can you tell that I'm recovering from illness? Have I mentioned that already? I know I mentioned that I was sick, but have I mentioned, like, can you tell that I'm recovering? Because my brain doesn't work anyway. Let's all be honest. I'm always forgetting stuff, but like it's not a cuff around your neck. What is it called? I can't think of the word. Someone tell me. This is terrible. Oh my goodness. Anyway, the thing around your neck I'm going to do in this purple, and then my sleeve cuffs, those are going to be in that purple, and then the hem on the bottom. So what I wasn't sure about, what I originally wanted to do was hold this purple yarn for my color 1 throughout the whole sweater. And that's what I did up here. Or did I want to do different colors for color 1 and color 2? And I personally, I think I really like the multicolor approach. And so I think that's what I'm going to do is, yeah, I will occasionally pop this purple in for one of the colors, but I don't think I'm going to hold it through the whole time. I mean, again, if the swatch was bigger, we would have a better idea of what it is going to look like. But if you can see up here in these last few rows that I did that purple, and I like it, it's all right, but I don't know, I really like the wildness a little bit more. So I think that's what I'm going to do. So the swatch did teach me some things, even though it's half the size of what it should be. I mean, it's the right width. It's just should have been a little bit taller. Anyway, you know, I said this was going to be a really short podcast and I'm kind of rambling. Sorry. So here's where I am on the sea glass sweater. I will do a little more work on that hopefully this week. We'll see. I will say it's fussy with all of the, I mean, look, I'm going to have so many million ends to weave in. And I mean, there's information in that pattern about how to deal with your ends. And I know Kay, the Crazy Sock Lady's talked about it, and she's just not stressed out about it. It'll be fine. It is what it is. It's just part of the process. But it was also kind of wild. I had like just yarn, because I'm holding fingering double for a lot of these. I do have some DK scraps, but most of this is going to be fingering held double. So I just have like little balls of yarn everywhere and little bits and this and that. So it's going to be an experience to do this sweater, I think. I mean, it won't be quite so crazy as the swatch, I'm thinking, because I'm not, you know, I'm going to be holding each set of yarn for, you know, a whole row of the sweater and not just like the, I forget how many, I think I did 28 stitches on here. And so it felt like I was just constantly changing and cutting and this and that. And it probably won't be quite so crazy when I'm doing the sweater. And I'm sure I'll get into a rhythm of it and it'll be fine. Because I really like the effect. And there are so many people knitting this sweater and it seems like everybody's really enjoying it. Like I know I was talking to Michaela of Breaking Yarn. She's doing the sea glass tee, so it's a little bit different. But I mean the same basic pattern. And she said that she's really enjoying it. And it's been really fun to watch her work on that sweater. So I don't know. I really want to get this thing going. So anyway, sea glass sweater in the works. Oh, I was going to do Professor Pearl, different Professor Pearl, not the same Professor Pearl as the I Heart Socks pattern, but Professor Pearl of the, does she, I think, is it just the Professor Pearl podcast? I'm not sure now. Anyway, she has another podcast. I'll link down below. But I've been talking with her a lot, and she's going to be doing a, I think it's a scrappy, is it scrappy sweaters or scrappy projects just in general? But she's going to be doing a knit along, and I was all excited about it because the sea glass sweater will be perfect for it. And so I'm looking forward to joining in on that. That's going to be really fun. So I think all I have left to talk about is a couple of acquisitions. First, I have a kit from Wonderland Yarns, the North for Nonsense Compass Kit #1. I got this as part of a D-stash from Pretty Twisted Yarns. Teresa is sick with shingles, and here I am complaining about my strep throat woes. Well, her shingles woes sound infinitely worse than what I'm dealing with. And while I felt very bad for her all the last month while she's been dealing with shingles, when I got my strep throat, I kept thinking about her and how she's been suffering as bad or worse for way longer And so, Teresa, if you're watching, I really feel terrible, and I hope that you start feeling better. But she did a de-stash because she was looking to earn a little bit of extra money because she had to cancel her daughter's wisdom teeth removal because of lost income because she was so sick. She wasn't able to dye. Well, dye yarn. That sounds terrible. She wasn't able to dye yarn, and people were canceling their orders, which, I mean, I understand why people cancel orders, but at the same time, like, that was really hard on her because she lost a lot of expected income. So anyway, I bid on that yarn there. Hope I was able to help her out a little bit. And I don't know if I'm going to be doing the, one of the patterns that this was particularly designed for. What I might do, because it's DK weight, is I think I'm planning on putting it into my sweater. Because it is, yeah, it's 100% superwash merino. So I think this will go well with my sweater, the sea glass sweater that I was just talking about. Or at least I'm thinking about it. At the same time, I've got this nice little packet. It almost seems sad to just kind of throw it in a sweater, like a scrappy sweater right off the bat, but it might be what I do. So there's this. And then I also got, my baby's crying, poor thing. I really gotta stop talking. I also got this skein of yarn from Woolies and Nosh. This is the Roy G. Biv-ish colorway, and it makes a really pretty rainbowy self-striping pattern. And I believe it has like a cream color in between each of the colors too. Anyway, I saw it on Instagram and snagged it when she had an update. I've never knit with Woolies and Nosh before. It is a 90% superwash Targhee. Is it Targhee? Is that how you pronounce it? 90% superwash Targhee, 10% nylon. So I think you can do socks with a 90-10, but it might not be a great idea. They might not be like really durable enough. Does anyone have any experience with knitting socks with a 90-10? Is it worth it to try? Or should I do something else with this? I might do something else with it. I was almost thinking, like, how do you almost think of, anyway, I was thinking about maybe knitting like a little sweater for my daughter. I think I might be able to, like, for my little baby who's going to be turning 1. I think this would be enough yarn to make her a sweater because it's fingering weight. So I get a lot of yardage out of it. I don't know. I'm thinking about it. Because the other thing it would do is it would make a really, really nice muscle burra hat with all those like stripes. I might do that too. I don't know, but I had to get this because look how pretty it is. So that's exciting. And all right, that's all that I have to talk about. 20 minutes, something like that, and maybe a little bit more. Doing pretty good. Okay, so that sock knit box that I have here with my fake IKEA plant here. I had a ton of comments on my last video, and that was how you entered for this giveaway. So thank you to everybody who entered. It was so fun to go through all those comments because people had like such nice things to say. It was really exciting. I had a lot of people that were excited to see me back because I hadn't podcasted in a long time. So that made me feel so good. And then a lot of people that were talking about the really enjoying seeing the behind the scenes of my dyeing process. So that was a lot of fun to find out that people were really enjoying that. And then just lots of like, just sweet comments from people or learning about what they're knitting on and, other little things here and there. So it was really nice to read all of those. I responded to everybody. Really, it makes my day when you guys have something to say. So please always feel free to comment down below. It is a lot of fun to chat with you and, message me on Instagram. I definitely have made a lot of friends on Instagram too. Like, I'm there. I usually am able to respond pretty quickly. So, if you ever want to reach out, please do. So I have everybody's names in this bag. This is a kind of wrinkly Knit Picks project bag. So I got little strips of paper here with everybody's name. I'm just gonna pull one out and we will find out who won this lovely box here. And okay, so I want to make sure that everybody sees that I am not cheating. This is a really cute look right here. Okay, got one. And the winner is Karen Carlisle. So congratulations, Karen. There we go. I will comment on your comment to let you know you've won. I don't know if I know you on Instagram, and if I do, I'll message you on there too. But definitely get in contact with me. Let me know your mailing address and I will get that box out to you ASAP, okay? So thank you again to everybody who entered. I would love to do another giveaway sometime soon, but that was a lot of fun. So I hope you enjoy your box. Anybody else who's interested in getting that sock set box, you can definitely go to Shelly's website. I'll have that linked down below, and you can sign up to get your own sock set box. I believe she's going to be opening up for new subscribers in March, if I remember correctly. So I think it's highly worth it. I'm really, really happy with this subscription box. Again, it is a every other month subscription, and you get a full sock set of yarn. So it's a main color, and I think she's going to be doing 2 minis each time, and then plus a bunch of goodies. So it's just lovely. So thanks again everybody who entered. I hope you all are having a lovely week. I hope you're all staying healthy. And spring is right around the corner, so hopefully we have some sunny days ahead, at least up here in the northern hemisphere. If you're down in the southern hemisphere, I suppose you've got winter coming. Sorry. Maybe you love winter, so maybe it's not a bad thing. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of winter anymore. But anyway, have a lovely week, and I will be back to talk to you all hopefully next week. Bye-bye.